Hello. The last 10 years, amplified even more by the tectonic shifts of the last 3, have seen a transformation of talent. For organizations, there is a hyper race in the hunt for great talent, each one aspiring for the coveted employer of choice mark. Now, what makes an organization get to that mark? How do some companies have people aspiring to join them? What qualities are they looking for? The answer to that can lie in a diverse range of attributes, from professional and personal growth, work-life balance, flexibility, respect, trust, leadership opportunities. Well, the list is expansive and highly personalized. But one thing does come out loud and clear. No matter what the attribute, it is all about people, their ambition, convenience, quality of life, thinking, etc., etc., etc. So today, brands are trying to give the employee experience by touching the notes that resonate with humans and their emotions. And why not? It is the people behind what the customer buys or experiences. It is their attitude, their thinking, their desire to give the best, their innovations, their ideas, their aspirations and ability to collaborate and deliver the best possible. It is this that finally matters, isn't it? And the way to touch those right notes and to strike the right chords is communications and its ability to deliver the message, ability to garner feedback and make the workforce feel what they have the right to be, valued, respected and cared for. And this makes comms an essential partner to building any organization's talent brand. I mentioned earlier that the talent arena turned on its head tectonically in the last 3 years. Let's take a step back and see what are those massive trends that blaze the train to activate the voice of the employee like never before. Number 1, shift in working model. From working in the office to remote working, most organizations now have moved to a hybrid model. Number 2, employee activism. The voice of the employee has never been stronger. Internal forums and social media have lent a form of self-expression by people that is unprecedented. And number 3, the Great Resignation. A familiar term by now, we have all faced it. The post-pandemic tidal wave of resignations that shook the talent world in 2021. And number 4, quiet quitting. Like all tides, the Great Resignation seemed to ebb much to the relief of organizations and gave way to a more passive form of detachment. A lot of organizations reported and are still reporting that a percentage of their employees are not an involved part of their teams and doing only what's required of them. Earlier, I spoke about consistent employee experience for positive perception, or EX. EX in turn is directly proportional to an organization's ability to deliver on their employee value proposition, or what we say as EVP. And all these points to the need for organizations to develop a well-defined aspirational EVP. And communications plays a strategic role in not only developing an EVP, but also communicating it. What is the employee value proposition? What is the EVP? This is the reason why people want to join a company and want to work for a company. It is the emotional link that makes them feel positive about a company. And for most organizations, their employer brand already exists. It exists in the interactions they have with potential hires, with candidates, employees and alumni. How they shape it is in their hands. Let's dive into what we did at PWC when we were looking to develop our EVP, activate it and communicate it. Firstly, we zeroed down on whom we want to target as our potential talent. Whom are we wanting to attract to join us? And then we did a research over 4 months on how PWC's talent brand was perceived and what is it that talent values, why they prefer to work for one company over the other in our industry. How did we do it? We did this through Universum's survey findings, which gave insights into what students at campus are thinking. Through social media analysis, we heard what our potential and existing talent are saying in the digital world. Through employer channels research, through Glassdoor, hiring portals, LinkedIn and few more, through focus group discussions among our internal cohorts. We divided them into 3 groups: new hires from campus, tenured hires from campus and early exits. Then we had a lot of parameters that we reviewed to evaluate, like what are people saying about PWC? What are the biggest positives for the brand? How can we amplify them? Also, what are the biggest negatives? How true is it and what can we do to bridge the gap? How are we seen in comparison to competition? We then developed a core idea that is relevant to all and captured the essence of the value that our talent wants. It was important that this aligned with our purpose and our values. One theme that caught the attention of all our focus groups was that being with PWC is career defining, that the skills, experience, relationships you build in PWC increase your career options in the future, that PWC is an opportunity of a lifetime. And so we finally zeroed down on our EVP as one opportunity, many possibilities. And then we went about putting in place a design language for it. In the previous section, I covered how comms influence driving an organization's employee value proposition. Now comes the part where I'll take you through how to effectively communicate it. After all, communications plays a strategic role in bringing it all together so that we can inform, inspire and influence our existing and potential employees as well as our alumni. So here are some aspects that can be used. The premise, of course, is treat employees like customers when you're communicating an EVP. So the first thing is target the right audience. Communicating your employer brand is a marketing effort in a sense. It would be best to market across different channels, targeting different groups of candidates. Then create an ideal candidate profile for each category you want to hire to be as specific as possible and map out the available communication channel for each category. For example, create separate messages for open market, target campuses, target skill-based hiring, mid-level managers, entry-level interns, high performers, C-suite alumni, entry-level alumni, etc., etc. The categorization will entirely depend upon what your organization wants to focus on. Then go about creating compelling content for all these channels. And your employee brand communication is only as good as the content you create around it. And in this digital age where people drown in information, your message needs to be crisp and compelling. Now, after all this is done, use multimedia effectively, videos and pictures depicting everyday life at your organization. Use people stories from new skills which are being offered to employees, the diversity inclusion efforts that you're making, all this, how you're impacting a real life of an employee. Basically, through intelligent use of channels and mediums, put the spotlight on the company culture, the workplace experience, job openings and any other clues that your target talent may be looking for. Next is to ensure that your communication channels are optimized for mobile devices, as most job seekers today use their phones to search. Make use of storytelling. Few things promote your brand as effectively as compelling storytelling about your organization and its mission. The key is to tell stories that people can relate to. So build a master narrative and try to subsume as many messages of your EVP under it as possible. Talk about how your organization has impacted your employees, the community, and the industry. There's nothing like testimonials, by the way, to lend credibility to a narrative. So use that. Strengthen in with real examples, real experiences. Become a conversation starter. You see, employees these days want to be part of a conversation and have their voices heard instead of being mute spectators. And social media is a powerful tool to start conversations about the well-being of employees. Establish a dialogue with regular followers and create posts following the organic flow of conversation. Polls, surveys, story interactions, these are just some of the great ways you could go about it. And then maybe even create a squad, a team of highly engaged and motivated employees who will promote your EVP. And that's how you build advocacy across ranks. Aim at building cohorts at all levels, from interns to leadership. And then work inside out. Repeat. Successful branding always begins from inside. And organizations need to turn their gaze inwards and involve their employees as part of the narrative. Next is to listen. Keep ears to the ground and customize comms to respond and ultimately preempt what they want. We at PWC have a number of people surveys, including our annual Global People Survey, which gives us cuts not just for the country, but also for our own comms team. And finally, it's all about effective messaging of the organization's goals, intent and purpose. Make every employee see where they fit in the overall scheme of things. To deliver the messaging, combine push and pull tactics in the comm strategy to garner support and participation from every employee. A variety of brand social media channels are used by organizations these days to showcase their employer brand and drive registrations to the talent community. The important thing is to find where your talent is. Where do they engage? What are their watering holes? At PWC, we've run a number of campaigns to get the interest of our target audience. For example, we ran a video campaign showcasing how people have got the opportunities to grow and excel. We called it Onward and Upward. We showcase what our people do beyond work, where people share their stories, from rock climbing to painting, adventure, dancing and whatnot. And then we recently ran a Solvers Challenge, where teams participated in a global challenge and shared their business innovative ideas. And we had teams from India making it to the top. One can also curate initiatives and programs tailored to groups of people to ensure high visibility and targeted uptake. We have a next gen forum where our young future leaders get a chance to work on challenges faced by the firm, on the vision of the leadership, and their experiences are shared internally and externally. Just think how inspiring it is for the rest of the people. For example, our alumni program has a year-long engagement plan. One can also celebrate champions across the organization. For example, we have a PWC India Brand Champions program, which builds, and we use them to build brand awareness through word of mouth. Peter Drucker, the management guru, once famously said, if you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. And there are various ways to measure the effectiveness of your efforts. And this calls for actually another session, but in brief, keep a tab on Glassdoor. It gives an idea of what current and past employees feel about the organization. Keep a tab on whether people are recommending the company as a place to work. Use internal surveys to see if the needle has moved. So to conclude, good an effective content and comm strategy can create a virtuous cycle of content creation and dissemination, one that is aligned to the organization's purpose and vision. Now, how can you prepare to take on this role? Well, when you join an organization, spend time firstly to understand the purpose of the organization, the values of the organization, understand the culture, read up, ask questions, study what the organization has been posting on its social media channels. Connect with the HR and other internal teams. They are your partners for deriving and communicating the people strategy. Study competition to get an idea of what others may be doing better. Have a look if some tracking mechanism is in place to tell what others are posting on. What is working for them? What is not working for them? What activities are they doing? Then prepare. Be solution oriented always. Challenge where needed. After all, you are a comms professional. You know what gets eyeballs, what is the best form of communication. At the same time, be open to ideas, listen. You may get great ideas when you can weave it with your knowledge of communications. Sharpen your skills around social platforms. This is very essential. Understand how to drive and measure campaign effectiveness on social platforms. And finally, stay up to date. Read. Most important thing. I hope you will find the information I have shared to be of use when working on your talent branding program. Wish you all the best.